One of the most important places you'll apply the skills of straight and level flight, climbs, descents, and turns is in the traffic pattern. Each runway has its own traffic pattern. The traffic pattern is a rectangular course located adjacent to the runway. It is used to keep landing and departing aircraft in an orderly flow and definite path about the airport. Traffic patterns have several segments or legs. The downwind leg runs parallel to the runway and is flown in the opposite direction of landing. Most of this leg is flown in straight and level flight. As you approach the end of the downwind leg, you begin a descent, then make a descending turn to the base leg. The base leg is flown in a straight descent. When you near the extended center line of the runway, you make another descending turn. The final leg is a descent along the extended center line until landing. When you take off, the straight-ahead climb is called the takeoff or departure leg. Like the final, it is flown along the extended center line of the runway. If you elect to depart the pattern, you can either fly straight out or turn 45 degrees from the departure leg. If you are returning for landing, you can make a climbing turn to the crosswind leg. Notice that all the turns made in this pattern are to the left. This is a standard left-hand traffic pattern recommended by the Aeronautical Information Manual and is the most common type in use. When turns are made to the right, it is called a right-hand traffic pattern. It's used for a number of reasons, such as keeping traffic away from noise-sensitive or dangerous areas. They are also used at airports that have parallel runways. In this situation, the right runway will have a right traffic pattern. This allows for simultaneous approaches and prevents the two runway traffic patterns from overlapping each other. Now that you have an understanding of the basic left-hand traffic pattern, let's look at how to use it. Most entries into the traffic pattern are made by intercepting the downwind leg at a 45-degree angle to the midpoint of the runway. Before you reach the entry point, you should be at the traffic pattern altitude, which is usually 1,000 feet above the airport elevation. As you approach a non-towered airport, monitor the common frequency and look for any traffic that may already be in the area. Look for airplanes that are turning onto downwind from the crosswind leg. In addition, be alert for airplanes that are flying a wider or closer pattern than yours. Also watch for slower airplanes ahead of you that can create a spacing problem. Before entering the downwind leg, announce your intentions on the common frequency.
Longmont traffic, Cessna 66091, entering downwind for runway 29er, touch and go, Longmont.
Upon intercepting the downwind leg, turn and fly parallel to the runway. Your heading should be approximately 180 degrees from the runway heading. This leg is flown between 1/2 to 1 mile from the runway. The point on the downwind leg when you are abeam your intended landing spot is where you generally begin your descent. Upon reaching the position approximately 45 degrees from your intended landing spot, check to make sure there is no other traffic already established on the base leg. Then begin your turn.
Longmont traffic, Cessna 66091, base, runway 29er, touch and go, Longmont.
The base leg is flown with a ground track which is 90 degrees to the runway. Once you're on the base leg, you will decide if your approach needs to be adjusted for wind or traffic. Before you turn onto final, make sure there is no other aircraft established on the final approach path.
Longmont traffic, Cessna 66091, final, runway 29er, touch and go, Longmont.
When you roll out on final, you should be no closer than 1/4 mile from the runway. This leg is flown directly along an extended center line of the runway. When you depart a runway, you should continue straight out along the extended center line until you are past the departure end of the runway and within 300 feet of the traffic pattern altitude. At this point, you have the option of departing the pattern straight out or making a 45-degree turn away from the departure leg. You can also make a climbing turn to the crosswind leg and return for another landing. In either case, you should announce your intentions. At a tower-controlled airport, the controller may specify the type of departure to be flown, or you can request a specific type of departure. When you approach a tower-controlled airport, you may also be asked to fly a modified traffic pattern to keep the traffic flow smooth. For example, a controller may ask you to enter and report base leg. If so, you should not fly the normal downwind, just the base and final legs of the approach. In this program, you have learned how basic flight maneuvers are used to fly the traffic pattern. These skills are the foundation for learning good approach techniques.